Hello. Ohio. Good evening. Good to have you here. It's been a while. So last week Saturday there was no stream. Thank you for being here today or tonight. I hope you can hear me well. Let me know if you can't. You're muted. Can you hear me? Right, I see there is an input on the mic. Maybe because I don't have my usual mic stand today, so I just need to keep it like that. Can you hear me? I think you should. Wait a second, maybe I'm a little out of focus. Okay, excellent. All right, then let me quickly play the intro and then we'll be back in 1 minute. And here we are again, so thank you for staying. Okay, so this week I was in Kyoto for the first time since 2016. And back then I was also in July, so almost exactly 5 years ago. Also this week, on the 7th, I had my anniversary, 5 years in Japan now. Now Kyoto, as you know, or may know, is pretty empty right now, no tourists there. That being said, I didn't go to specifically touristy destinations. I went mostly to visit another YouTuber. When I planned the trip, his visa was about to expire on the 8th or so very close to my trip. But then it was extended by half a year. So, but still, I mean, that was my main reason. So meeting another YouTuber, a German guy. And yeah, I had spent some time with him. We did a video for his channel. And we also had a German live stream, my first ever live stream in German together. Which was, yeah, nice for nice change of language. So that's why I was actually there. I also made one video for this channel. I stayed in Kyomachiya, so Kyoto townhouse, which is owned by a friend, and he makes this available for tourists. So you can book that. Oh, thank you. Why is it still like this? No, it shouldn't be. Well, how much was it? I didn't. Wait a second. $100? Why do you give so much money? Thank you so much. It doesn't show here yet who donated, and obviously I couldn't see that. I actually updated the animation, but it's still showing this crap. I think I need to completely redo it. Actually, I even made a picture of myself to show there. So this was the most generous donation this channel has ever received. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. May have been Alminox. Thank you so much again, as always. So back to the story. I was staying in a townhouse in Kyoto, and on the second day, so I stayed from Monday to Wednesday. So Monday I arrived, Wednesday I went to Tokyo, from Kyoto to Tokyo. And the second day in the evening I asked the owner, maybe what do you think, should I make a video about this, a house tour so? And he said, great idea. So then on the last day I had to check out at 11. And before that I had to make the full video. So it took like 2.5 hours and still ran out of time. But I hope it works out. Not sure. Again, I felt like it would have been really nice to have a camera with autofocus and so on. So at some point probably I need to change from this one to another one. But it's a very expensive endeavor. So for now the focus is on the drone. And that's why I was in Tokyo. I say Tokyo, but I am getting ahead of myself. That's why I was in Kyoto. And before that, actually, Friday, Saturday, I went to a ryokan not too far from here in another town and shot there another video. And that's also where I did the last live stream from on Friday night, which lasted only 30 minutes or so because it was interrupted all the time and then completely disconnected. I guess that's countryside internet. And here then, after Tokyo again, after Kyoto again, I went to Tokyo to get vaccinated, which I did. And like my arm was a little bit painful it's still a little bit painful if I touch it, but it's essentially okay now. This was the first one. Second one will be in 4 weeks. Which brings me to the next topic, which is the state of emergency. So there will be another state of emergency in Tokyo, which will be or is scheduled to be until including August 22nd. So when I go there in 4 weeks, then it will be not only Olympics but also state of emergency. So yeah, not looking forward to that, but yeah, doing it anyway. All right, so that's the story for today. Now let's see what you wrote. First for Aminox, I think so. Yes, Daniel second. Harsh Kai is here. I was the fourth person in the chat to write something. Obligatory technical issues causing the usual 15-minute delay. 5 minutes today. 5 minutes. All right. Ricardo Furtado is here. Welcome. Are you German for your accent? Yes, I'm German. I'm German. Good production quality. Yes, of course. Professor Dr. Uzi finally made it. Nice. And Aminox is the top contributor. Yes. Essentially, I think the two people driving this health bar right here are Aminox and Daniel Panic. Yeah, just really sad that the animation didn't work. I guess if it was a super chat, then we could see it, because previously it worked as well. But I'm really not sure why it doesn't show it properly for this one. Oh, Aminox will get the second one in 10 days. Nice. So on Hokkaido you're faster. Yeah, for me, I had to go to Tokyo because it's through the office. I don't know when Nagano will start doing something. So here it is still, I don't know. I mean, many people in the office had their own voucher, which they got by the local government. So there's that, but not for me. All right, what should we talk about? What else should we talk about? Oh, another one. Let's try this. Exactly. Thank you, Daniel. So there you see, I made this just for you. Thank you, Daniel. So this would be in theory another 4 here. Which vaccine? Moderna. Not Pfizer. Pfizer is, I think, more popular, or most, like 80% or so of the shots in Japan are Pfizer, but for my company, they do Moderna. Your streaming system just doesn't like me. That's why it never works for me. Yeah, maybe, but so if we want to verify that, we would have to have somebody else also use Tipeee to contribute. Hey, Jasiwada, it's good to have you here. Where was I? So upcoming videos. As you know, I'm still working on this video for Narai. Hopefully we have some progress there soon. And then the other 2 videos after that I already shot will be the ones I mentioned. So ryokan, traditional Japanese hotel here, close to here in the mountains, and then Kyoto house tour. I'm also considering if tomorrow I should climb a mountain here and visit an abandoned zoo, but I'm not sure, because probably it would be better for the channel if I spent this time editing and getting the next video done. So I feel like this is what I will do. Or Alminox, we could verify it the other way. If you also did a super chat, you know, then we could see if it chose the normal one for you. Or just for you specifically, it messes it up. What you sit there, you hustler. But still very generous every time again. Yeah. And then, so since I was in Tokyo, I always say Tokyo, but I mean Kyoto. So whenever I say Tokyo now, probably it's Kyoto. When I was in Kyoto working with this other YouTuber, he has the drone I want to get, the DJI Mini 2. And yeah, it's fantastic, I feel. Very, very small, of course, very light, 199 grams in this country. And the new angles it provides is, I think, will be very beneficial to the kind of videos I make. Professor Dr. Uzi got AstraZeneca, and the second in 2 weeks will be BioNTech. I see. I hope it works out well. Aminox missed the show 2 weeks ago, and I took last week off. So it was an accumulated donation. I see. Thank you so much. Yeah, last week I only did Friday very quickly. Then it got interrupted by no connection. And then Saturday I couldn't. Yeah, that's true. Actually, 2 weeks ago, I think there was actually no donation. Because you were missing. So thank you again. In 27, me and my wife went to Gunma Safari. I think that would be a good video for you as well. We got really close to some lions. I didn't know this existed. Let me see. Gunma Safari. Wow, oh, I see. Hey. White tigers. Thanks for the hint. Now the other YouTuber I met, he's also an interesting guy, and I admire how frugal he is. So he said, yeah, 600 euros a month is enough for him, and that's great. And probably half of that will be rent or so. I don't know if he meant that for rent only or also food and so on. But yeah, he's like, I think that's great to be able to live off of that satisfactory. I mean, of course, he said he doesn't have kids and so on. But still, you know, when he gets outside, he takes he prepares some lunchbox and so on, and then does that. What are the things he does to be frugal? I think he just doesn't spend money on things he doesn't need. And he very clearly defines what he needs. So recently he bought a camera, I think, and a backpack for a camera. So that's that. Also a gimbal, but this gimbal was donated by a viewer. So yeah, so he got that, like donation with purpose. And other than that, yeah, he's like, I think he's walking a lot. He's taking the train only when needed. His place has bicycles also, and he somehow got a really cheap Airbnb where he's staying, and which he's using as an apartment. It's he said like 650 a month. Was pretty cheap, and yeah, then he goes around, makes videos. And he has a very supportive community, I feel. His channel is not big, not yet at least. He's like less than 1900 subscribers. But in the live stream, usually he has more than 100. So in that regard, he's much more successful than I am. And some of them are really, really, yeah, what's the word? Kind when it comes to donation. Generous is the word, generous. Be careful about playing too close to wild animals. Remember the grizzly man. I don't, probably. But, yeah, be careful. Don't do that. I mean, they're wild animals. But in this one, with the safari thing, you're in the bus, right? I guess. Yeah, but if you have ideas for videos, let me know anytime. Doesn't mean I will do them, but maybe someday. And probably one day I would just have to get an editor because it's too slow right now. I think what made me think today is when I talked to yet another YouTuber, and he said my channel right now is focusing more on streaming, which is of course true, because like for every video there are 4 streams or more. But it's not necessarily what I want the channel to be viewed at. So maybe I will actually either I need to put out more videos so that there's a better balance, or I need to move the live streams to a separate channel. That would mean, of course, that things like super chats don't work until it's monetized and all that, which will take time. So I'm not sure. He did a documentary about him becoming part of a clan of bears and ended up recording himself being killed and eaten by that clan of bears. Oh. Yeah, maybe he was a little optimistic. This safari we went, there's 2 ways you could experience it. One is with a small bus. They have this specifically to feed lions. Otherwise, you can just drive in your own car. I see. Maybe I would prefer the bus in case an animal attacks and so on. Oh, Professor Dr. Uzi bought a house. That's his way to be frugal. Congratulations, hopefully. Recently. And do you feel like it was a good choice? You're not the only one, right, Daniel? So Daniel Panic, he also purchased more or less swapped apartments in Chicago. Why not cut back on time or frequency of live streams? Yeah, I thought that too, but then again, this persistency allows the people to be here more, right? Or to have it on the calendar and so on. So, like Aminox mentioned last week, it wasn't, and so on. So people get this understanding like every week or so. And once a week seems to be doable for me. When it's every other week, I think it will be harder. It will be harder for me to show up. So I'm not sure really. Could be one option, of course, to maybe do it every other week. But I haven't decided on that. Aminox says, I don't spend my money, I give them to Johannes instead. That's a great decision. Fantastic investment. I mean, I also support a couple of two YouTubers on Patreon. So, I mean, if you like what they do and you feel it's worth giving your money, then why not, right? And again, of course, it's really appreciated. Marina Myon is new here. Do you play any games? No, I don't. Sorry. I played games when I was much younger. And now if I play them, I always feel like what they provide me in terms of fun, enjoyment, does not compensate for the feeling that I could provide more to you and so on, or my kids, my family and so on with that time. So I don't usually play games. I close on my house on Thursday. All right, that's pretty soon. Finally, yes, congratulations. 8 years ago, says Prefecto Dr. Uzi. Best choice ever. Got a daughter now. Nice. Congratulations on that too. 8 years ago. So like 30 years or so, or 25 years left. 25 years of frugality. Yeah, I mentioned before, we were looking at a plot of land here, which was about $160,000. And but I'm not sure. I also mentioned that I'm not sure if we will stay here forever or not. And now this plot of land was reduced to $148,000, so $12,000 off. And now I told my wife, maybe you should ask if we can get it for 120. The thing is, right now there is like an Akia, it's not really Akia. Akia is an abandoned house that's still livable, but people don't live there. So it's not totally run down. But actually a couple of people still live there. And the deal is, if you purchase, then they will leave that building. The current owner will destroy the building, and then you get like the land. So there would actually be a significant cost they would also have to carry just to get this removed. I don't know, what, 10, 20,000 or so. Which is also there. There's a little bit of risk. So because this is an older house, we don't know if this has been like prepared for flooding and all that. And if not, then it may be expensive, like 50, 60, 70,000 again. So we need to verify that, would have to verify that and all that. So it's but still, it's an option. And of course, having like an Akia on there, an old house, and that being demolished and all that also makes for great content. Am I dating myself when my immediate thought was the robot voice asking, would you like to play a game from the movie War Games? I haven't seen the movie War Games, so I can totally not engage in this conversation. But I guess so, yes, probably. I mean, my goal would be, if we really did get a loan or something, my goal would be to have one, to essentially get it for free. So, that have the inflation be higher than what we pay interests. And two, have the monthly payment be lower than what we pay now. That would be my goal. Not sure if we can do it, but if it continues like that, then we do have a chance. And probably, so as you can hear, this is not particularly expensive, right? So this is like 400 square meter, which is pretty big for Japan. And then if it's like 148,000 by 400, that would be $370 per square meter, which is insanely cheap for most areas I lived in. I think Munich, how much would that be? 5,000, 10,000 or so? Definitely more. But probably here, the expensive part would be the house, which is a shame because a house is worth nothing after a couple of years, like 30 or so. And at some point, it's like this Akia now that's actually lowering the value of the property because you have to tear it down and make a new one. So I'm not really sure if that's a good thing for me or not. Would a block of land be a good investment? It depends. So this is a special one. Because, as I mentioned, it's 400 square meters, which is too big for most Japanese. Usually like 200, maybe 250 is normal, which means you have your house, you have space for 2 to 3 cars to park, and you have like a very small garden. And usually, often what you see then in the garden is just stones, like the small, not like big stones or something, like small stones, and they just never continue doing anything with that. So that's that. But I want a garden, I want a big garden, I want to be able to do stuff. Now, 400 square meters means usually you would build 2 houses there. However, the access to the area is too small so the access to the area is 2 meters wide. And in order to be allowed to build 2 houses, you would have to have 4 meters. So that's not possible. So one house can be built there, one entity, and apparently nobody wants that. This much space for only one house. And that's why it's so cheap right now and why they can sell it. Also for that area, it's like 50% of what you usually pay. And for me, since I don't care and I want that, I would totally do that. Aren't mortgage loans interest ridiculously low in Japan? Yes. So they're less than 1% right now, even for people that don't have a permanent visa like me. So a friend of mine, he also doesn't have it. I think he got like 0.66 or something like that. Was it 0.8? I think it was less, 0.6 or 0.7ish. So super low. From that perspective, totally worth it. But then, of course, if what you buy with that money deteriorates so drastically, you have to think. But then again, of course, if you would take that money and give it somebody else the other way, like paying rent, again, you can consider. Usually houses loses all value after 30 years, but the land retains value. Exactly. But location is key to determine the long-term investment, yeah. So, as I mentioned, the location is not bad. It's good, actually. Like, lots of things that you need are close. It's also more or less safe, so unlikely to be flooded by a river, unlikely to have landslides and all that. Also, I think no volcano any close. As you said, after 30 years, the house loses value, and after 30 years, it like inverts, and it not only, it continues to lose, but like into the minus, right? So the land that retains the value also loses value by that, because you have to remove the house before it's valuable again. That's how it is here. But it is said that newer houses are more likely to last for 70 years or so. But again, that's not the culture here. So especially, of course, if somebody died in the house, then you want to maybe make a new one instead of just living there. That's also what happened to my parents-in-law's house. So it was teared down. Now there are 2 houses where before there was one. Which is too bad. Also, my grandma-in-law was the same. Big house, big land. Now it's 2 houses. In hindsight, and we didn't take it because we didn't know. In hindsight, we should have taken that part and lived there, build a house. But back then it was before Corona, so there was no way we could even consider coming here. Yeah. So much for that. Houses, investments. Probably not the best investment you can make, but if you want to diversify, and at least even if everything goes wrong, then you have a place to live, which is good, right? It's not just like a digital part of a company that you have somewhere. A plot of land in central Tokyo is a great investment. If you bought it 50 years ago and built a house, the house is now worthless, but the value of the land has skyrocketed. Of course, yeah. Especially if it's like in the really fancy areas. I used to work in Roppongi, right? And there are some houses that are, I don't know, why are they still there? They're like totally run down, and the land they stand on is like worth millions. It's like, why don't you sell it? I have no idea. Maybe they don't know who the owner is. I don't know. And that's, I mean, to me, that's also charming. Like this ugly, uh, not necessarily skyscrapers, but tall, like 15-story buildings that are like super thin, 2 meters wide or so. And then there's this house, traditional house, which is like falling into pieces just next door. I like that. But yeah, I mean, maybe they don't need the money, maybe they don't care. So, but yeah, I also don't own land in Tokyo. Still, it's very so. When we were in Yokohama, we were rather close to Tokyo, and there they built like 3 boxes, so houses, but they looked like boxes, like squares, very thin, and like shipping containers, like I think 2 or 3 shipping containers on top of stacked. That's what they looked like, and this even included the garage, so the car went into the house potentially. And then you still had an outside parking space for one car, and this together was like $700,000. Like, who in their right mind would pay that if you can just go like a little bit further outside and get something proper? But yeah, that, I guess people like that, some at least. Why is there a U.S. military base in Roppongi? Is there? Ah, there's the embassy, right? It's a military base. I know there's they have like ugly, rather old white houses, and it's all fenced and so on. I thought that's the embassy or embassy-related buildings. Hi, Tiny wonders, what's more profitable in the long run, buying a house with all its drawbacks or just renting a house for years? I mean, renting a house doesn't give profit, right? My thinking, at least right now, which may be a naive, is just like Aminok said, at least after the 35 years, that's how long a loan usually lasts in Japan. At least after that time, you have the land and you have the house you live in probably until you die, and you have that, which is nice. And if you rent, you don't. But on the other hand, your landlord has the house you lived in. Aminox says he only rents because it's cheap in Hokkaido and does not tie me down for 30 years. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's essentially what we need to decide. Do we want to stay here for the foreseeable future? Not just that long, like 30 years or so. Or is there a way that maybe we increase our income that we can have 2 houses or something? Becky Pegmes is here. Hey, good to have you here. Are you excited for the coming Olympics? No. I think nobody in Japan is. I mean, I like watching. I'm not a big fan, but if it's on TV, I probably would watch it. But of course, most people in Japan think it's not particularly a great signal if you hold an international event of that scale and at the same time tell the people, hey, we have another state of emergency, which during this whole duration of the games, and you should stay at home and don't go outside and don't go like to bars and so on. But still, we have all this, like, how many people are there? 10,000, I think 11,000 athletes, and then probably with the staff, it's like 50,000 or more people coming here. Yeah, that's not particularly a good signal, and accordingly, most people don't like the Olympics here. But Olympics generally, I think it's great to see people that really work their lives to be at the peak and see them perform at that peak. The US has people who don't like. No, sorry, I jump on. US embassies always have huge iron gates and military guys with guns whenever you see them outside the US. The US has people who don't like them for some reason. Okay, I'm not sure. Maybe they just live there. Maybe it's just the stuff and so on. It's pretty big, and I mean, in this area, it's worth a lot of money. Andre Müller is here. Doing well, yes, doing well. Thank you for being here. No audience for the Olympics. Yes, that's right. So initially they said I think they want to have like a limit at 10,000 people, and now they say no people. Becky Pegmes will give an online interview for a Japanese company located in Tokyo. I'm really nervous. Nice. Congratulations on landing the interview. When will it be? And what position for? Yeah, a couple of people commented here that they interview or that they even landed a job and so on, and that's really great. Especially if they say that they took something out of my videos to help them. The Akasaka Press Center, also known as Hardy Barracks, occupies about 2.7 hectares of prime Tokyo real estate in the well-known Roppongi neighborhood. There we go. After World War II, US forces commandeered the site. Today it stands as one of the few remaining facilities of its kind in its capital central area. I see. All right. That also explains the age of the building. Do you know the name of the plant behind you? No, I don't. My wife would know. So she's a florist, so she said like, yeah, for this room you need something that's like resilient and so on, because it's hot or it may be cold and all that, and maybe not. Yeah, probably sunlight is enough and so on. But yeah, resilience, and she decided on that. But I don't know the name. And she's not here, so I can't ask. But maybe... Yeah, no idea. Robotics R&D engineer on Friday. All right, that's soon. All the best. Interestingly, when I applied for my job, I thought like, yeah, this won't work anyway. And I also, it was like very, very early when they announced the opening, there wasn't even a job description. So I was like, is this really true? Like, are they really looking for that? So I was like, also like, yeah, no, I won't go to Tokyo. I do it online. And I was very relaxed. And yeah, that landed me the job then. Of course, there was 2 more interviews. Was it 3? Two interviews, 1 job, 1 offering meeting. And at the last one, then I got nervous when I knew, oh, okay, this may get serious. But yeah, I think if you can manage somehow to be relaxed, maybe do some breathing session or meditate or something before that, as much as you can, that would be helpful. And also during that, speak slowly, not like an idiot, but don't rush, take your time. And even if you don't know an answer, that's also fine. Worst thing is you don't get the job, that's it. Andre loves botanics. Nice. Which anime series are you watching nowadays? None. I know. It's disappointing. I don't game and I don't watch a lot of anime. The last thing I watched was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Can you believe it? Like generally, not anime. Because it's on Netflix in Japan now, and I thought, oh well, if it's there. And it was, yeah, okay movie, but compared to other Tarantino movies, maybe not the best. Oh, Becky Pegmes felt the same. Nice, nice. We shall name it Hintergrundpflanze. Yes, which means background plant. So this background plant, if you Google Hintergrundpflanze, you will most likely find it. Daniel got his job from a job fair. Wasn't really interested in going to it, but my siblings convinced him. Okay. Convinced him, and he gave his resume, and they called me in and eventually got the job. 11 years and counting. Not bad. Ninja Monkey's here. Long time indeed. Long time no see. How long has it been? It's 9 p.m. So like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 5 hours or so already. Japanese live action is very underrated. Live action. What is live action? Wait a second. Japanese live action. Oh, like anime adaptations, is it that? How much could a web developer around 3 years experience make in Japan? Was planning on looking for a new job and exploring options. Don't speak Japanese though. 3 years, ne? Depends on how well you can sell yourself, how much you. I mean, 3 years can be a lot for some people. Like they can really grow a lot, and for most people, maybe it's like, yeah, they have some knowledge, but they're not really senior so yet. And for some people, they are still not so great. So totally depends on that, I would say. In our company, maybe you would be, where would you be? 50,000 a year, maybe. So it's not great compared to other countries, certainly. I would say. Live action is the opposite of animated. Thank you. You type really fast. What is word per minute speed? I have no idea. But I also have a mechanical keyboard. So that sounds faster maybe than it is. Actually, I did word per minute test some at like 60 or so. It's not super high also, I think. That being said, maybe if it was German, it would be... No, probably not. Probably not. Especially if I mistype, that takes so much time. With actors and stunts and stuff, you know, normal series and movies. I see. So it's not adaptations, it's just regular films. I see. Like Hirokazu Koreeda films. Okay. Live action. Yeah, when you say live action, then I thought like it's actually live, you know, a live like this live stream, a live show. It's like, okay, so normal films, right? I should watch The Seven Samurai again. One day. But you already see anime and films in general. I have a hard time keeping up. Also, one in my team is always like, I can't believe you didn't see all the MCU movies. I'm like, I saw the first Captain America. I guess that counts, and also the first Avengers. So I guess I'm almost caught up. Then one time on a plane, I think I saw Doctor Strange. I think it wasn't particularly great. Maybe it's because of the plane. And then I think I also saw the last one, whatever that was, Endgame maybe. Just because I was more or less forced to, not in the cinema. God beware, but yeah. Anyway, I have some knowledge, but apparently not on the standard that many people would like me to have. On the other hand, I have seen lots of Star Wars movies, but not Solo. Are you still working from home or everything is open in Japan? No, I'm at home, so Tokyo will have another shutdown until the 22nd of August. Not shutdown, state of emergency, it's called here. So there's no proper way. That's not the right word, but no. Yeah. Anyway, I shouldn't go to Tokyo. You know, on those Asian martial arts movies, the person would speak for like 10 seconds and the translation would be really short. That's like my keyboard. Sounds like he typed a lot, but it was just one word. Yeah, actually, it was 3 words. Japanese live action. Are the cases rising in Japan? Yes, I think so. I mean, yes. So it went down to like, what was it, 600 a day or so, and now it's back like, what was it, 1,000? And now it's up like twice as much or so. I think Tokyo had like 900 or so yesterday. So it's rising a lot actually. Again, like, what's that, 4th or 5th wave or so maybe coming. Speaking of anime, how many in here want to gouge out their eyes when the anime they looked forward to is computer animation and not cell drawings. Yeah. Have you seen One Punch Man season 2? Terrible. What types of food do you get at this time in Japan? Depends where you are. So if you're in Tokyo or in Kyoto, then you don't get anything. Because of the state of emergency and so on, they all close at 8. Not all, but most of them. Yeah. For me personally, today I had a bento, which seems to be balanced, like a small piece of fish, a little bit of yumeshi, so beef on top of rice, 1 tomato, some green stuff. What was that? Bamboo shoot, and so on. So pretty nice variety, I think, of stuff, and also not too much, not like you're feeling super full and so on. That's what I had today for our lunch. And dinner we will see. Are the Japanese high schools open? Yeah, they are open. I think though, at least in this area, if there is somebody has corona, then they shut down. Isn't a lockdown a bit of an overkill for 900 cases? Maybe. I mean, Tokyo, how many are there? 14 million or so in the prefecture, metropolitan prefecture. So 900 by 140. Oops, that's the wrong backslash. So that would be 6.4 per 100,000. And usually in Europe, at least, we do that per week. So if you say that's the same every day, then it's a 45. That's not so low. It's not critically high. So for example, in Germany, it was like 200 or higher for this number, like 100,000 over 1 week. Yeah, but still, it's something to be careful about. Oh, Ohio Affe. Good to have you here, Stefan. Hisashiburi. Wenn du willst, leih ich dir mal die DJI aus. Gerne, aber weiß noch, sorry, I switched to German. So yeah, he says if I want to, I can borrow his DJI. Absolutely, but so I think, I don't know if you remember how we met. We met 2019 at the YouTube Hanami. And back then I lived in Yokohama, but now I moved to Nagano. So maybe it's not so easy right now to connect in real life. One Punch Man, pretty much the only anime I was watching in recent years. Between season 1 and 2 I started with the manga, and after seeing the actual season 2 I think I can go back now. Yeah, it's like, so One Punch Man was, for those who don't know, it came from a webcomic. So the creator, like, he draws like I would draw, probably, more or less, maybe a little bit better, but just a little, tiny little bit. And I don't draw great. And it was popular, and then at some point it got made into a manga and then into a show with like 12 episodes for the first season, which was 2015. And then I think until 2018 or so, or 19 even, nothing happened, and then was season 2. But I think they changed the production company and apparently the budget or so. And everything you come for, which is the One Punch Man, the character, and the one punch, which is everything, he can beat everything with one punch. You don't see. You just see sa, and then you see a flying head or something. But you don't see the impact, you don't see the poof, and so on. So they saved a lot on the animation and all that, and it was compared, like from a craftsman level, it was not comparable to the first season, unfortunately. I hope they change that with the next one, if there is one at some point. Daniel says, I don't watch much anime anymore. I still would watch live action, but not the crazy game show stuff, where they put the small box with someone's face reacting to it. Alright, I probably also wouldn't watch that. In Hokkaido, the high schools have been open-ish, which means all lessons have continued, but only online via Zoom. All right. Well then. What got you into martial arts? Excellent question. I think this has never been asked. Maybe. When I was young, I went to my grandma's house and switched on the TV. And there on Pro7, a German TV show, which I actually worked for at some point, not TV show, TV channel, there was a Jackie Chan movie, and it was amazing. I think it was Armor of God or something, like his 80s movies. It was fantastic, and I was, wow. And from then on, I had that somewhere. And I thought, okay, maybe I should try something, maybe Taekwondo or something, whatever we had there. And I was like, just like contemplating, thinking about it, but never acting on it. At some point, my mom said, hey, I have a friend. I also knew the person. He does Aikido, actually. Why don't you just go? And essentially, she went with me. She said, okay, let's do. And she did like also 10 minutes or so and left. And that's how I started 17 years ago. Yeah. So my mom got me into it more or less. And Jackie Chan. I think after Jackie Chan was also Bruce Lee, still before I started. But Jackie Chan was actually first for me. The problem is the amount of positive compared to the testing. That's a good point. I think it's still very hard to get tested here. Example, 822 positives in Tokyo compared to 8,950 tests. That's quite high. Exactly. So this like 10% positive tests, oof, that's high. Oh ja, schickt sie mir zum Convini. That's very kind, man. And very trusting. Yeah, you can also send it to my home. I'm at home. I get in contact. Thank you. Really kind again. And so Ohio Affair, I think, is also really into RC stuff. And when I was younger, I also was. And like essentially at my birthday, everybody, like all the relatives and my friends and so on, everybody had to give money so that I could buy an RC car, like Tamiya and so on. Then put it together and drive it, and then maybe tune it and all that. So when I was younger, back then. And actually, I think not too far from here, there is actually a Tamiya racing club or something on the second floor of some building. Never been up there, but it has the sign there, and sometimes I hear the sounds. What about the picture on the wall in the background? This one. This one I took. Let me show it to you a little bit closer, maybe. So I took this last year on my phone, and I liked it a lot. So I printed it. Wait a second. You can see my fantastic summer pants. So that's the picture. So I especially like this. So this kind of perfect timing with the sun going down between the tree and the temple. And yeah, liked it, so I printed it. The resolution was not high enough for this one, so I had to crop it a little bit. And that's why there is this ugly bar here and also a little bit here. I thought maybe I could sell it, not merch, but a print. And that's also why I ordered this. But because this was so unacceptable, I never sold it. I mean, a smaller size would be available, or I scale it a little bit more. Maybe it would suffer then, so maybe not. Maybe if you're really interested, if you tell me now, then I would make the smaller version available at some point. I love those 80s Jackie Chan like Project A, Police Story, Operation Condor, etc. Also like Stephen Chow, Kung Fu Hustle, Love and Delivery, Shaolin Soccer. Yeah, I think Shaolin Soccer was the first Stephen Chow I saw, and then of course Kung Fu Hustle. Haven't seen Love and Delivery. Yeah, but he also was impressively successful. The picture-in-picture with reactions to what is being broadcast is basically all Japanese TV. Yes, even in the news, which by the way has a soundtrack telling viewers how to feel about a given story. Yeah, so it makes life easy. And that's what you want when you watch TV, right? You don't want to think. You want to switch off and so on. I heard, somebody told me that so they have a lot of text, even like subtitle in Japanese TV, on Japanese TV. And I was told that's for essentially housewives or housemen, because they like vacuum or something and they don't hear the TV, but they can still read it, apparently. Maybe that's not true, at least, but I was told. Ohio office says, my work is pro-pilot, but hobby is love. Yeah. I remember the pilot part from when we met. Drunken Master, Snake in the Eagle's Shadows. Snake in the Eagle's Shadow. Yeah. That was like the classics, right? It was still so hyper choreographed. I mean, very close maybe even to the original Kung Fu form, I guess. So very ha. I like that. And then the Legend of the Drunken Master. I also love that one. So the second Drunken Master, where he had his bodyguard who did Taekwondo, and he was the evil guy. But I think he still had to train a lot to be fast enough for Jackie Chan. Some trivia here. Japanese TV is special. A special experience. Yes, it is. I think it can be fun every now and then, but I don't know if I could survive watching it every day for an extended time. Maybe not. Japanese TV, yeah. As mentioned here, so usually, if you don't know that, so Japanese TV, something happens, and then you have a second layer, more or less, of people reacting in the small thing. So somewhere on the screen you see a window, and you see a face of somebody, hey, and so on. Also the audience doing that. And then, like mentioned, lots of text there. And apparently what I heard is they have talent there in their shows, and they have a contract that this talent, if they join, they have screen time of 2 minutes or so. However, not all talent is particularly clever. Talent, but not clever. So sometimes the best thing is just to show their face in the small box. Then they have the screen time and the contractual obligation is fulfilled. That's what I heard. That's one of the reasons, at least. And I also was on Japanese TV once, so not in person, but one of my videos. And exactly that happened. It was about Japanese bathrooms, and they had got a voiceover and so on. And said, like, if you press this button and this and that in Japanese, then over my voice. And of course, the people in the window. If you search my Twitter, it's like I posted in 2018 or so. You can see it. Maybe I just search it quickly and share it here. Give me a second. Twitter. So please continue the conversation. I should find it hopefully rather quickly. Media. If Twitter is loading fast enough. Maybe it's not. So we're in 2020 now. 2019. There it is. Okay. So you can watch and enjoy that. My 30 seconds of fame on Japanese TV. I like some comedians from Japan, like Shimura Ken. Yeah, unfortunately, he was like one of the first victims of COVID. Matsumoto from Gakitsukai. Okay, I don't know. I only know Shimura Ken. I knew his face before, but the name and the connection only after he passed away, unfortunately. Everything on Japanese TV is designed to relax people. Everything is checked and approved. Nothing is ever honest or controversial. Everything is designed to relax the masses. Yeah, so it's a very Japanese thing. Whenever they eat food, right, it's always umma. and like it's so delicious, and whatever it is, always. Yeah, that wouldn't work with Mr. Ramsay. I mean, maybe he would work here because it's something different, and Japanese would be a little bit shocked, but also intrigued, maybe. Is the population of Japan on a decline right now? Yes, it is. It is. I don't know exactly how much, but it is, yes. It is a good picture indeed. Ah, thank you, Ninja Monkey. Thank you, Nathan. Luis Felipe says Brazil, Japan. I would watch dorama. They don't do the box thing. Yes, that's a plus. Some are over a decade old, like Mukodono, Trick, Goksen, Ikebukuro, Westgate Park, Atashinchi no Danchi, Hana Yori Dango, and so on. I don't know any of them, but I know the saying Hana Yori Dango. Or they say Sugoi. Yeah, they say Sugoi. Yes, true. Hey, Sugoi. Especially female, I think that's a very female thing to say. Imagine Hell's Kitchen on Japanese TV. Yes, yes, I want to see that. Did you know there's like in Japan there's a Boss coffee, which is black coffee by Suntory, I think, and their character, their ad person is Tommy Lee Jones, who has essentially superpowers in that clips. I also like that ones. Gakitsuka is a TV show that gets every end of the year in Japan. They get in a room and are not allowed to laugh. It's pretty funny. Oh. You can use chopsticks. Sugoi. You are tall. Sugoi. Yeah, you hana takai. Yeah, お箸上手ね。箸の使い方うまいですね。And so on. You get that. Yeah, of course. Gets released. Okay. Yes, there's one thing. I think once a year so, or is it more frequently? With the tell apart thing, expensive and cheap. So, for example, Wagyu, cheap beef. You close your eyes, and then you have one bite each, and you have to decide. Cheap wine and expensive wine, cheap piano and expensive piano, and so on. So things like that. I like this one. And there's one. So there was one participant, Gakt, it's an artist, who always got it right. And that's why he has his. And so it's like when he says A, then the audience knows it's A. So we as viewers. So he now has his own special treatment, that he has his own room and goes to his own little chamber, and it's not shown if he was right or wrong or where he went until the very end, until it's revealed. However, he's not always the winner because he has to team up with somebody else who might get it wrong every now and then. Alright, so Nihongo Jouzu. Yes. Is it a real plant? Yes, it is. It is a real plant. And thanks to my wife, it's still alive. I think I watered it once, maybe, or maybe not. But she's like taking care and doesn't need that much, like once a week or less, probably. Grade 4 and 5 beef seems to make a difference. Yes, I think so. Yeah, often you get like Kuroge Wagyu, so that's the black-haired Wagyu, which is the most, like 90% or so. But it's like, yeah. I went to Kura Sushi the other day, and they have, or was it Kappa? A sushi store. And they have like sushi with A5 Wagyu on top. No. It's like 330 yen, like $3 and a bit. But it was kind of, yeah, okay, but not great. Certainly, if it is A5, then not a good brand. Probably it's not A5, really. Gakt. Yes, Gakt. And I'm very certain that you could tell apart like Kobe beef from, I don't know, imported beef or so. But for other things, I don't know. I couldn't tell apart a piano from a piano, probably. If it's especially if it's played by a pro. I think they also had like pro ensemble and amateur ensemble or something like that. There, maybe. Not sure though. Sometimes they had also like which one is shark, which one is salmon or something, like different kinds of fish and so on. Yeah, I like that show. Another one I like is there's also once a year in the end of the year, I think, like all comedians that are very, very, do you say unsporty in English? So they don't do sport at all, essentially. They have to compete in the classic Olympic disciplines and also basketball and stuff like that. That's pretty funny. There's a YouTube channel I watch where 3 levels of chefs, beginner, intermediate, expert, make the same dish and you can compare them. So they all make sushi, gyoza, burgers, etc. I think I saw this for the burgers once. The amateur was terrible. The intermediate one was solid, and the chef, of course, was the best. Are you a fan of watching food? I am a fan of eating food. And watching, yeah, sometimes. I mean, probably it has to be more than just food. Like the chef has to be special or something. Like Gordon Ramsay certainly has something to add, or an interesting concept and so on. I don't know first kanji. 箸で食べ、違う。What's the first one? Aminox, you need to teach me. Oh, I have to check it now, but I'm too lazy. 何々で、箸で、食べことができますか？上手ですね。Yeah. That's what you get. That's what you get. Hashi. Yeah, I mean, and you get that also if you like not good, as usual. I mean, I think that makes sense actually. Like you also say to a kid, well done, right? Because it's well done for what is expected from from where it is right now. So, and that's the same with what they expect you to, how you use maybe chopsticks when you have been here for like a year or what, or how you speak Japanese. Then they're like, yeah, good done, well done. And then maybe if you're here for 10 years and you don't almost speak no Japanese or very basic, then maybe they don't say that anymore. But maybe they still do. Because they don't think it's a necessity or so. Or they still feel it's very kind of you to invest some energy into learning. The second sentence is you're skilled, yes. So do you have experience eating with chopsticks? Pretty sweet what you're doing there. Yeah, and I think only once I got, when I ate with knife and fork, they said kirei, so beautiful. Yes, of course. I was educated for decades. And that's Japan. Very kind. Doesn't mean that you have to stop learning. Just means your efforts until now are appreciated. Which is also nice, of course. I mean, yeah, I mean, probably if you go to a traditional Japanese teacher, so if you have this Deshi sensei relationship, this won't happen a lot. And then if at some point he says, or at least my teacher, at least, usually what you hear, I heard from my teacher is like dame, which means not good. And I certainly knew it was true. So I was like, "Dame," or something like, "Don't do a form." That's not. And then I'm like doing again a form, and he's like, "I told you not to do a form." It's like as in move freely, right? But of course, for me, it's hard to just switch it off and so on. But then at some point, sometimes if you get like Yosh or something, has much more weight than a Jozu or something. How important is Japanese pitch? Just thinking of Hashi versus Hashi versus Hashi. It's important, I think. Just like, let's talk of English pitch. You can hear I'm not native English, right? Because my stress accent, not pitch, stress accent is wrong, right? In some places, in many places probably. So it's important. Accent is important, and that's the same in Japanese. So I would imagine if you're German and you don't study pitch, that you sound like I do in English for a Japanese person. So maybe pronunciation not so bad, but accent is a different one. I mean, you can say it's a foreign accent or so, right? How big are your chances of getting to a native accent? How high are they? Probably not so high, but you can get closer, certainly. If you like, let's say you picked something up, you maybe 40% or 50%, then you can improve that, I think, to 80 or something, probably, if you invest. Yeah. And probably the basics, like this 4 patterns and so on, getting that down is helpful in any case, and it's not a big investment of time, even if you don't want to get to a super fluent level. You could use chopsticks before moving to Japan, though. Yeah. Well, when I went to Japan for the first time, I couldn't. My sister gave me chopsticks when she came from Australia, which were Korean chopsticks, which are out of metal. And I tried eating rice with that, like basmati, and didn't go so well, and that was it. And then I went to Japan, and then I had to use it. That was 2009. And kind of went okay. And then when I went to see my now wife in 2014, it also was okay, but she's like, all right, let's do it properly. And then I had like cramps and so on and pain in my hand for a year or so. And now it's okay. I made a video on that. Not on my pain, but maybe a bit, but on how to use it properly. I don't have to stick like things here, otherwise I could show you. Essentially, the lower one rests on this one, right? It doesn't move. And the upper one rests on this one here. And it does move. That's it. And I'm a lefty, but I can only, somebody I think, or I told me, or I read it somewhere, that you use chopsticks with the right hand, and that's why I can use them only with the right hand, which is probably uncommon. And also, I guess that's one of the reasons why many people in Japan don't realize I'm a left-hander, because you never write with your hand, and the only way to identify that is with the chopsticks, I guess. Nagare Sushi is here. Hi. English and German are also kind of has pitch accent. Yeah, I mean we change pitch sometimes. In some areas I think we have where pitch makes a difference. But of course, I mean German has the stress accent, which means you get louder maybe on certain parts you want to emphasize, and the vowels get longer, which totally messes up pronunciation in Japanese. Still messes it up for me sometimes. Even though I'm native English, I have a distinct accent too. Yes, but it's an English accent. You can say I speak German English. She doesn't go out with anybody can have 2 different meanings depending on how you announce it. You mean skiai, right? Like tot skiai and niet skiai? Ninja, a lot of online experts have overhyped pitch accent, and it's important in recent times. It changes depending on where you in Japan you are. Yeah, certainly. I mean, right. And usually, I think at least Westerners and news people and so on try to focus on the standard Hyojungo. Here in Nagano, it's close, I think, but not quite the same. But I can't hear that anyway. Or sometimes maybe I can, but it's hard to reproduce for me. The dorama trick I mentioned is about people who debunk claims of paranormal. In one episode, they figured it out when the fraud said, "You have chopsticks on your table." He had a model bridge on it. I see. It's a nice addition, but first focus on building vocabulary and learning grammar. Understanding kanji and other scripts. Pitch accent is not needed to live in Japan, but all the other things are. That's certainly true. However, again, like the basic thing to just get like into the hearing is not a big investment. To just know it's there and what the 4 types are, and then you understand what you're dealing with, I guess. It seems like homophones are used a lot for humor and cleverness. What are homophones? Like hashi and hashi? Yes, it is. Yeah, I mean, I use it a lot, like dad jokes, right, and so on. It does not go down so well with my wife. Sometimes she's like laughing and then she's like saying, that's not funny. But yeah, sometimes it works. Most times it doesn't. That's that. By the way, Ninja Monkey, are you at the beach now? How did the weather turn out? And yeah, I mean, also if you can be understood or not. Yeah. Probably, in many cases, does not depend so much on pitch accent. I guess it takes maybe more processing power, so a little bit, but if your pronunciation is proper, then you will be understood. Yeah. That being said, so I went with a friend to a pizza place on, when was it? Wednesday. And there was a Swedish guy there who also spoke Japanese, I think well. I mean, he knew a lot of words and so on because he studied here and lived here for some time. But he had a very clear accent, and the waiter also took some time to realize what he said. So probably at least pronunciation is important, I feel. Like have to understand how long a mora should be, how you have your mouth when you pronounce vowels and so on. Sarcasm, which I'm raised on, does not exist in Japan. Yes. I have not come across it. I mean, maybe in Osaka or something where the people are more funny. I don't know. But here, maybe not. To clarify, the person was being told via radio, hashi, and the fraud didn't notice the pitch. It's hard to explain the story, but you get it. Oh. The weather remained a little cloudy, so I stated. So the person didn't listen to the pitch or so, but took the context and thought there are chopsticks in front of him, but it actually was a small bridge like that. The weather remained a little cloudy, so I stayed at home, editing whilst watching my live stream. Thank you. And about to set up for a special project tomorrow. Nice. Yeah, I would probably, if I was in that project, I would probably use this setup. So just keep it like that. Talking about pitch, accent, and so on via text is not so easy. Yeah, you have to make like arrows on top of text or something, or maybe after the character. Yeah. Well. Yeah. So again, I guess it depends a lot on what your goals are with your Japanese. Eventually, what you should focus or how much you should focus on it, and yeah, and how early and so on. As you know, probably or maybe some of you know that are into that. Dogen is the master of pitch or so. Like he has a pretty extensive by now library of videos explaining pitch accent on his Patreon, and he recommends, I think, when you're done with Genki or so. So if you have a decent amount, well, how much vocabulary do you have? About after 2 Genki, like 1,500 words or so, solid grammar, basic grammar, and a couple of hundred kanji. Yeah, at least previously, a couple of years ago, that's what he recommended. Context is usually good enough, like content or content. Yeah, for example, I would totally wouldn't realize the difference probably, you know. Some content sounds wrong, but you can figure it out. Yeah, exactly. So that's where I go off because I have no idea, right? And I mean, when I listen to myself, I hear, okay, that sounds not native. There's something wrong. I can do this also while I speak, so live. But it's hard to correct. I would need a couple of tries probably, compare what I'm saying to the other one, and then maybe I could form a pattern and then based on that, a habit. I don't take my Japanese too seriously. That's my problem. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing with Japanese. Like, if you want to go to a high level, then of course it just takes a lot of time, and yeah, that's that. I think that's the most important, most difficult part, to do it in a way that's fun enough that you can continue this for a long time, over and over, almost every day, until you're good enough for what you want to achieve. Is Johannes content with his YouTube channel's content? Yeah, well, I would like it to be more, and yeah, that's that. Then I said, you saw me in Dogen's chat. Language is pretty interesting to me. You have an accent, but you're also clearly fluent or near fluent. Thanks. Yeah, as you can see, I sometimes struggle for words. That's probably, I think, mostly, or I'm not coming up with the word in the right language. That's often because I don't use it that much as much. So when I would use English with more native English speakers rather than non-natives or Japanese, where I have to level down essentially to be understood fluently, then it would be easier. But yeah, that's that. And fluency, I mean, probably in most areas, but some areas again, I'm not fluent. And so also some area, not like technical, probably in technical areas, I would be more fluent than the average English speaker, but in some areas like playgrounds or something, I have no idea. Where of course the normal average English speaker native English speaker does have no problem. So that's why I say favorite, fluent in most areas maybe. Do you know somebody who went to a language school for a year or two? Personally, let me think. Do I know somebody? I mean, I like the Swedish guy I just mentioned, but I just met him at dinner. So I don't really know him. But the language school specifically? No, I don't think so. Not personally. Do I? No, I don't think so. And German TV dubs English content the same as Japanese TV, so you're not exposed like some other countries. Yeah, that's true. Like Sweden or something. Maybe even at work, language school. I mean, my work provided like some one-on-one lessons. That's what I did, but only 50, so that's nothing. Yeah, Alminox, but not in one go, over many 3-month periods. Okay. I mean, there's some YouTubers, right? Tokidoki Traveler came here as a student. I think Loretta also went maybe to language school or so. So there's some, but nobody I know personally, I think. Yeah. All right. So slowly I want to come to an end, maybe do 5 more minutes or so. Then I want to do some more editing, get some stuff done, to solve the problem of not having a good balance between regular videos and live streams. So yeah, nice evening so far, and very generous donations from Alminox and also from Daniel. So the two main contributors to this live stream and channel. Thanks a lot, as always. If everything works out, I will go to language school next year, and after 2 years stay to work in IT security. We'll see how that will work out. Okay. I hope it works out well. And in any case, I mean, if you come here for language school, then you already have a very good idea and gotten a good taste of what it feels like living here. So then I think you can make an informed decision on if you want to stay here longer. But in 2 years, if you do it full time, or even if it's like just half a day, and then you take care of not staying like in a room with other foreigners, but maybe at a homestay or so. Be exposed to native Japanese as much as possible, and be in situations where you have to use what you learn. Then I think you will be at a great level in no time. Daniel has to prep his place for buyer to view, so it's good that we're ending, I guess. Yes, exactly. Yes, good luck with the buyer. Videos is the stories Johannes wants to tell. Live streams are discussions of his stories and everything else. Yes, and also a little bit of your stories. Or the stories you want to hear. You can always start learning now. Use mnemonics and spaced repetition software. I think that's the most effective. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think so too. At least that's what I use and what works well for me. But by all means, use what you have fun with. Because if you use spaced repetition or Anki or something, and it's so boring for you, you don't continue after 2 weeks, then what's the point? So if you prefer writing stuff down, and that's the only way, or the way that is most fun, then do that. Someone buy my place. I don't want to be paying for 2 mortgages. Yes, good luck. Wasn't there like somebody almost already? Because you said like it's like very close with the one closing the deal and the other one. I'm out of water. Two mortgages. Yeah, I guess you just have to earn more money. Start with Wanikani after lesson 10, start with Genki, keep going on both. Well, Wanikani is like 30 or so per level, so you would be at like 300 or so. I think Wanikani is also more or less like it's in school or so, right? So probably more or less you get the most use out of the first kanji and so on, right? So that's not bad. Yeah, I feel in a lot of ways Vanikani is more efficient than Hasik probably. Especially how it's structured and can be updated easier and so on. They lost one of the 2 jobs and backed out. Oh no. Oh no. I mean, good for them that they lost it now and not right after signing, but unfortunate. I hope you will find a better one now. Okay, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time today. It was my pleasure. Again, thanks for the kind donations. I hope you have a great weekend, great Saturday, and then see you next time. So I really hope that by tomorrow night the next video will be in a draft state, and then through the week I can improve it. Maybe by the end of the week share it to patrons. Hopefully, we'll see, and get it approved by the town I made it for. Tschüss, Jussi war das. Have a gute Nacht. Have a good night, everybody. Take care. And now let me end the stream.